Hey peeps, it's me, Adam Stone. Once again, 775 the 9. As you can see, I got a different hairdo and I'm at a very different location. I actually had to move to a different apartment. So with that stated, want to go ahead and say hi, 775 the 9. Anyhow, so this Vault 7 thing. Now, I just want to go ahead and talk with y'all about this real quick because I'm going to tell you right now the order of the photos itself should be the clue in. The entrance to the Norwegian Seed Vault, Svalbard Seed Vault Bank. Now, this is a place where people were supposed to be storing just seeds. Now, if you look at the Veritasium video, you will see they do not check the contents of anything they put inside the seed vault. So this means if you want to store anything, I don't care what it is. If you want to store anything, you can store it. You can come from North Korea and store it at this location. So if you can store this and you come from North Korea, for example, and if, for example, they don't check the stuff, well, what could you send there? Not just could you send gold, just like the second photo, which is of the salt mine where they stored gold in it. Why would you store gold in a salt mine? Or should we actually suggest those were body bags? That's first and foremost. Secondly, the suggestion those gold bags might actually be body bags might not actually be unheard of. I think it's a possibility that those are actually body bags. In fact, I'd probably argue that going salt mining was an attempt by the Nazis or its reincarnation in America, the far right, to go and fetch the gold back so that way we Jews of Scythia couldn't get it. So I think that's what happened. I think that they were going salt mining because they want all their gold that they stole from us and they wanted to keep it, but we got in the pathway, started catching up on it, and then it was like, give us that gold back, motherfucker. We got your ass. So this is, I think, how it went down. I think they stole our gold. They tried to put in the salt mine. Then, because of what's happened in Switzerland, where, the U.S. was getting involved with their banking system there. So then they had to move out all that gold from Switzerland over the Svalbard Seed Bank because they don't check their shit. So then, they went and basically, this is where the gold from Nazi Germany and apparently something involving an EMF drive. No, excuse, not an EMF drive, an EM drive, an electromagnetic drive, which would reportedly allow for instantaneous movement or movement which does not involve thrust. And this supposedly was discovered when they took microwave radiation inside of a box. And apparently the box moved by 30 micronewtons. The 15 to 30 micronewtons. It's not very much, but the claim that they observed thrust. And that there was definitely thrust involved. Well, let's think about it. You put a piece of electromagnetic radiation, which is light. It's a photon. You have that zoomed in inside a box as just sitting there. Any probabilistic action that the photon could exert on the what I like to say it is it's related to the Higgs field. And here's what happens, right? So the photon hits an electron. The electron vibrates from one energy state, to either one up or one down. Usually up if you add a photon, and down if you're emitting it. So if you absorb a photon, the electron will go up in energy state level. But if it emits a photon, it goes back down to its original level or to its whatever energy state level it happens to be in. But every time that the electron absorbs or emits a photon, it automatically vibrates the Higgs field when it goes from one energy state to a level to another energy state level. And so this is what I think is happening, is that the EM drive is what happens when you take photons and you shoot it out the back of a jet engine, and it interacts with all the electrons, gets them either to enter an energy state level, which either causes it to vibrate or it becomes so heavy in its energy state level that actually physically shines off the nucleus, which contains neutrons and protons, not photons. So then the electrons get shined off the nucleus with the protons and neutrons on it, and this then has all the electrons zooming out the back, and it uses that as a kind of source of energy. So this could very well be the way in which the F-22 in fact operates. I did say before in another video called Jews of Scythia at War with Grey Aliens that the F-22 almost certainly used its laser and cyber weapon capabilities to defeat magic carpets. I think this is an extension of that. In fact, if I'm right, when I mentioned that 450 degrees Fahrenheit is the reversal of the 9/11 conspiracy, we see that the engine type in the third picture is of an F-119. Now, I'm going to bet you right now that association between that and reported another release of a photograph which states that they released the 11 number in association with the Twin Towers. That's a very big possibility. I'm not entirely sure on that. What I do know is that aluminum burning with petroleum products over steel or against steel equals a chemical called thermite. And this is 2 molecules of aluminum with 3 molecules of iron. And this would force any oxygen or carbon dioxide or carbon molecules contained in the steel to have to react with any oxygen and any of the hydrocarbons that were being possessed in the airplane fuel. And so I think this rocket fuel, I think it's very possible that what we're dealing with is aluminum, iron, and petroleum products, and that these were put together in order to create association to the steel, which is supposed to destroy the steel, which makes the aliens most fearful, because the great aliens from Mars specifically, they live on the moon right now because of what they did on the Mars. They made the moon exist. But ultimately, there's really big stuff happening with that. For example, you melt steel. Well, if you can destroy steel, supposedly you can destroy the great. The problem is that they used another silver chemical, a silver color chemical, which is of similar content to the iron. It's 5 times stronger and is 2 to 3 or 5 times lighter. I'm not sure which one it is, but I know either one of them would be good. So 5 times stronger than steel and 2 to 3 or 5 times lighter. So I think they were trying to use aluminum. We're trying to scare us with aluminum, but I'm all too scared of the iron needle. So with that stated, we were able to use the aluminum because I identified iron, lead, and aluminum as the metals that would be necessary to defeat the gray aliens. So then they got pissed. Now, what chemicals do you use to defeat the Venusians? The Venusian witches. This one is, you have to use cloth, alcohol, and apple cider vinegar, or apple cider, or apple juice. So apple juice, any kind of alcohol, and cloth, and the burning of wood will definitely kill off the Venusian witches. Which leads us to the Zionists, because the Zionists most likely were trying to claim aluminum to kill the steel, because they thought that the steel was what killed the gray alien. But the reality is that the steel actually just simply kills a Semite. So they were actually unlocking our metallic capabilities. and they were trying to do so. The problem is that they accidentally unlocked a stronger silver-colored metal, and that this actually is what would bring down the downfall of the Zionists, is the 450 degrees Fahrenheit, the reverse conspiracy. And this is something even Michael Moore was incapable of detecting. He did not fully understand the context that Nazi gold found in a salt mine was translocated to the seed vault because it didn't check the contents of whatever they stored, which then allowed us to recompose the drive, put timbers in the middle of a salt mine, get the air shaft going, store a bunch of body bags, whatever you want to call it, you see. So their spirit cooking, it was said to involve blood, semen, and breast milk. That's very interesting. But I eat, consume, and actually burn the spirits upon their entry into the cannabis of the Aladdin special. Trichomes are 100 times stronger. Planet 9. For those of you who are wondering, welcome to Earth, where humans and human beings survive and live and die on soil. Chemistry. Chemistry. Someone didn't understand the root of that science, did they? I'll go ahead and leave it at that. Chemistry. You fail to understand chemistry, you probably won't understand what happened. You see, chemistry, history, writing, these are what I did to unlock and destroy the extraterrestrials and their attempts at over-harvesting the Earth. They had 8,000 years to do it, and they miserably failed. 4,000 years before that, one of them was beheaded. It is depicted on a bone plaque at Göbekli Tepe, also known as Mount Eker. Now, if you want to know what the sciences you'll actually need, you'll need chemistry, geography, and geology. Those who are stupid of rocks' earth layers are creationists. They did not and refused the science of geology so that way they could preserve their ideology, which would fail because of the study of rocks and the digging of rocks and their unburial. Whereas geography is the act of locating a location based on a map, which requires cartography. Again, cartography requires geology, because if you're going to depict the Earth's surface, you need to know how the surface is composed, why the formations exist the way they do. And so this is why, to understand geography, you do not necessarily require a geology, because you can read a map and you don't necessarily need to understand the rocks. But if you're going to create a map of geography or be a cartographer, you will need an understanding of geology, or someone else will need to write that for you. And so this is how, as you see, the understanding of geology, or the study of rocks, underpins and directly is responsible for, if it undermines. Talk about some inside jokes. It undermines the root of cartography, which is geology, and the root of geography is cartography. So if you look at Piri Reis, maybe he traveled there. Maybe he visited Antarctica. If you look at the Piri Reis map, a very interesting example. If you look at the map provided by Carthagena about 2,000 or so years ago, 2,500 years ago, they have a coin containing Africa, Europe, Asia, and North America. They don't have Australia or South America, Antarctica, but they have enough to tell me that they probably knew where those Minoan mines were, with the symbol of Sheen on Michigan Copper Hunting Island in the Great Lakes there. You should go check out that 5,000-year-old bronze mine. You know, the copper hunting. Anyhow, so for those of you who are wondering how this all relates, as I said, it's geology to geography, and then you just have to add chemistry. With Sarah Palin, she went to Anchorage trying to stop a salmon river with an arrow. She lacked an understanding of geography, much less geology and chemistry. So these are various things, but this is as much as I could say right now without actually... my phone was very lucky in that my phone has a tape life left of 20 minutes and 16 seconds. And at this moment, I'm about to go ahead and end the video. So just wanted to let y'all know. Peace out. 775 to 9. Vault 7.